Hi, welcome to In Stitches Fiber Arts. This is Brenna, and I'd just like to spend a little bit of time talking to you guys about the different fiber artists who have inspired me to start this channel and some of the projects that I've been working on, as well as some of the patterns I'm planning to develop and put on my website. I'd love to get your feedback about any other YouTubers out there who you enjoy watching and get ideas for your crafting from, or any inputs or feedback for projects you would like to see, or tips and tricks that you'd like to gain from watching and viewing. I'd like this to be a dialogue as much as possible because the content only matters so much if you get something out of it. So let's see, I have a notebook with me just to keep track of the names. I mean, there are a lot of people who have given me ideas recently and inspired me and convinced me that it's actually like a good idea to start this channel. So okay, let's see. In no particular order, I wanted to start by mentioning TCD DIY. She does a lot of worsted weight. I think it's primarily worsted weight crochet projects, and does tutorials twice a week, I believe, twice a week of new content. And I've gotten a lot of ideas, inspiration, and I have a lot of just kind of like basic beginner techniques of how to do different stitches and whatnot from her. So I think she's pretty fantastic. And I'll link all of these names below so you can kind of check them out too. I love Be Hooked. She does crocheting and knitting, and she has very beginner friendly tutorials. I've gotten a lot of just like practical, like, here are some tricks that are beyond what you see in a pattern, or beyond what you see just written down on a blog or a web page or some type of Ravelry pattern from her. Typical Bliss is a lot of fun. She has a lot of energy. And I like her content for her podcast. She's a lot of fun to watch, and I typically sit there and crochet or knit, watching her talk about what she's working on. I really like Any Knits. She has a great website. She develops and sells a lot of her own work, and she has a podcast too that's pretty information packed. It's a lot of like practical information about like what her thoughts are and her plans are for knitting and crocheting. There's a couple I really like from England. Slip Slip Ginge. That one's hard to roll off the tongue. And his partner, she does crochet. So he's a knitter, and she crochets, and her name is Chunky Stitches. And they have more of like a kind of like a lifestyle blog type style, where they kind of show you around what their travels that they do, and their yarn acquisitions, and fun things that are going on in their daily lives. So I consider those more lifestyle podcasts, but those are a lot of fun too. I also really like La Petite Saint Crochet. She's a lot of fun. She has a lot of energy. I find myself laughing a lot at her videos. I find them pretty entertaining. And I found a lot of practical advice from her about like the actual like business side of possibly like developing patterns and developing your own style for crocheting. I also really like Tony at TL Yarn Crafts. I think she just has her own like homey personal style to crocheting. She does Tunisian crochet as well. That's kind of, it seems like that's kind of more of her specialty. And I have to say I'm a little bit shy about trying Tunisian crochet. It intrigues me at this point, but I don't know if I'll dabble into the commitment of trying that when I'm still trying to advance my knitting, and I'll table it for like a thought sometime in the future, but I would love to learn Tunisian crochet from her. I like the podcast style and kind of like the frank, honest attitude that Wool Needles Hands has. She also develops her own dyeing for yarn, and her products and her ideas seem really cool. So I just started watching her most recently, so I know less about her. And then, believe it or not, Tom Daly, who was a swimmer in the Olympics a couple years back, actually like planted the seed in my brain that like a website and sharing my ideas and my patterns, which are to come. They're in development with you all. He actually has a website, and he does knitting kits. I haven't bought one yet, but I'd be curious to see how easily they work up, because he uses like a thicker, chunkier yarn, and really bright colors and fun patterns that he develops. And I just think it's so cool that crocheting and knitting got the spotlight on TV. I don't know how much you guys noticed it or saw it a couple years back, but he would sit there in the stands and work on different projects. And I think he made like a little pouch for each one of his medals, and I was just like super impressed. I was like, wow, like I'm not the only one who likes this craft. So I just wanted to kind of give a shout out to all of those people, and there's more of them that I'm sure will come up in other videos and whatnot. It's just like, it's a really cool community to plug into, and I'd love to see who all has been inspired you and has been teaching you tips and tricks on these arts, because they're kind of like old arts, and I get the teased occasionally from friends and family about it kind of being like a grandma thing to do. And I think it's gotten kind of a revival in the past couple of years, especially with all of the lockdown and the isolation that a lot of us experienced, and tried to find new things to do to kind of entertain ourselves and keep ourselves busy. So let me know your thoughts about who you like to follow, and any recommendations of people to keep track of. Let's move on to current projects. Or should we do current projects, or should we do patterns and ideas of stuff that I've made? Let's do patterns and ideas of stuff that I've made. Let's see. I did just create a video of a tutorial. It's a little rough, of how to make a chunky hat. I thought it was good timing just with the holidays coming up and trying to make last minute gifts. I also have a chunky sweater that I made with the same like bulky weight yarn, and I wanted to show you that and see what your thoughts are, because I was thinking about writing up a tutorial for how to make this sweater. It's crocheted, and it's just like a simple raglan design. Yeah, that's the back. This is the front. So it's just like a simple single crochet, and it fits really well. I'll try and I'll definitely post pictures of me wearing it in either a future blog or a future video. But it's really easy to work up. It works up really fast just because the yarn is thick and chunky, and I used a pretty big crochet hook. So there's that one. There's that sweater. Let's see. I made a little while back. I made a little like koala, like a big koala and a small koala, and these are super cute. Like they have like the fuzzy ears, and I was thinking about developing a pattern for these. I was just kind of testing out my skills with amigurumi and practice to see if I could possibly make my own pattern, and these ones came out pretty well. So I'll try and add either a pattern or a tutorial on how to make these because they're super cute. This is a pattern that somebody else made, and it's a free pattern. I'll link it as well. It's just like a cute little rattle. I don't know if you can hear it, but it shakes. And it's these are kind of like the heirloom toys, and it has a little like fluffy tail. It's super cute, and it comes with a bunny too. And they're really easy to make. You start at the bottom, you work your way up. It's a great introductory pattern to amigurumi. It does have a little bit of a color change on the striped sweater. Not too hard to figure out though, because you just change it at the end of the round. So I'll definitely link the pattern to this one because this is one of my favorites. It's like a go-to for anybody expecting a new addition to their family. Okay, so those are the patterns. I have other stuff too, but we'll just start with those. I don't want to like overextend all of and give everything away at once, I guess. But let's see. I don't know if you guys. Okay, so these are. Okay, so these are patterns that I've developed myself as well, and I'm working on their works in progress, so whips. And I'll start with this one. It's a sweater. Haven't tucked in any of the ends, and I'm still working on the second sleeve, but super cute striped sweater. And it has like pretty just like straight puffy sleeves, kind of like balloon sleeves, and a cinched cuff. And I'm pretty excited about this one because it's super hard for some reason for me to make sure that a sweater fits as I'm making it. And even using a pattern, I end up frogging quite a bit just to either add or subtract or lengthen or shorten. It's a process to make your own clothes. So I'm pretty excited about this one because I tried it on, and it's made from the bottom up. And I tried it on, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's too tight. What am I gonna do? So I added panels on the inside seams just to see if it would look good. And I ended up being really happy with the addition just because it adds a little bit of extra something. So we'll see how quickly I finish the other sleeve, and I hopefully don't get the second sleeve syndrome. So keep your fingers crossed for the progress on this one, because I would love to write up a pattern for this one, share with you guys. I don't know how many of you guys watch Schitt's Creek, or well, I think it just ended, but David the main character wears quite a bit of really nice sweaters, and I found one in particular that I really liked. So I drew up a colorwork pattern on a diagram, like in an Excel sheet, and I'll put a cutaway to the picture of what this looks like, because it's kind of hard to see. But I started knitting. It's a black and white heart, so this is just halfway through the heart, and it's a standard like double knit crew neck sweater. And I've knit sweaters before, but I've never really liked them or ended up wearing them, so this is just kind of like a new endeavor. The floats are coming along. Some of them are a little bit looser than I might have wanted, but as you can kind of see, they're there, and they're not too tight, which is probably better. It's probably better to have them too loose than too tight. So there's this one too, and I'd definitely like to develop a pattern for this one too and write it up. It would probably be a free pattern because of like copyright issues. So we'll see how that one develops. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the Schitt's Creek sweater. And then lastly, I have these crochet squares that I just kind of came up with an idea for. So here's what they look like. And I have about 5 of them made. And I'm going to sew them into a blanket. I think I'll just use like an invisible, oh, that's the back of this one, sorry. I think I'll just use an invisible seam to seam them together. I have a project in progress where I'm making a bunch of blankets to donate to a local hospital for patients whose family members have to wait a long time for somebody who has a longer term stay in the hospital. And I was also thinking about making some like receiving blankets or little layette sets like hats and whatnot for babies, newborns that are born in hospitals as well. So just a local hospital nearby. It's just a fun outlet to continue to make things and be creative and make things for other people. And I've gotten to the point where a lot of friends and family know that I knit and crochet, and they like the idea, but they also don't always want handmade presents. So I think it's just a positive way to give back as well and appreciate the hard work that people go through, and the hardships that we all experience just in life, and having a sick loved one in the hospital that you know or you care about is a really hard time. You don't always have everything available to you that you would need, and emergencies come up. Nobody plans for an emergency, so I just wanted to have something warm to keep kind of comfort and keep people there, keep for people who are kept in the hospital longer term and waiting on loved ones. So that's this one, and I will probably write up a pattern for this this crochet square as well. But what do you guys think? Like, would you like a pattern for this? Like, would you crochet this yourself? Let me know. I'd love some feedback. So I think that's pretty much all I have for today. It is the holidays, so this is being published at the end of December. So I hope everybody is safe and healthy and staying warm, and yeah, happy holidays to everybody and whatever you're celebrating. So